Hello, back again. This video is about why DM Condor sucks. And, why, he's kind of a symptom of, the grognards of, the OSR problem. These people, basically their whole thing is just, as far as I can see, just being anti-woke. Like they hate like that, minorities are being included in D&D. And they have this the white man replacement theory going on, where somehow if you put a few black characters in a mostly white room, somehow that takes away from all the white characters, which I mean, just go look at some of Diversity and Dragons coverage of like the artwork, and you'll get a sense that these guys are just deranged lunatics. Like Condor, he's in that same trash heap. It's just that I guess he's such a little niche guy that he just basically can't even get along with these guys, which, I mean, it shouldn't be hard to get along with these guys as long as you accept their worldview that, WotC is, trying to erase, white males from D&D, and that, it only wants to cater to, people that are different than that. And I just kind of baffled with these guys. They're all just bad people. DM Condor even admits that there's sexism and racism in the old school, like, first edition and whatnot. But he kind of seems unbothered by it. As far as I know, obviously, because he thinks everything's woke and is terrible, and has this has a juvenile complex, just like all the other OSR grognards that I talked about in my previous video, like DM James, where they think young people just suck and are lazy, even though young people literally are working more hours for less pay. and by the way, with more degrees. Like, so the young people have more degrees and working more hours, but less pay. But it's because they're lazy, and then they don't know how to hold a 9 to 5, as DM Condor put a whole video out on. I mean, the guy's a moron. I don't know what to say. Like, he's wrong about everything, pretty much. I mean, there's too much to count. I mean, if it's about young people, if it's about even his philosophy. I mean, let's go to his philosophy about, like, TTRPGs. Like most of these old OSR grognards, it's one thing to make a case that, hey, look, the old school, it was pure, they had well-defined classes, and that's what I like, and I don't like this whole idea that you can create whole new characters from, like, different classes, or taking different feats, or, all this customization, and they hate the superhero feel of it, which just means players have a more reliable way to control their character's actions in, like, in the world. Because, I mean, as much as they want to bitch about buttons, it makes the world intuitive for a lot of beginners. And then, of course, if you're advanced, those buttons are, for instance, if you're playing online, they're just there to make the rolls faster. So who's going to hate buttons? I mean, that's stupid. It's this, like, it's like anti-gamer, like, tropes, but the thing is, they also like old games, so they make no sense. Like I said, a lot of times with these people, they talk one side of their mouth and then out the other. I mean, the sexism, the racism. It's like, how do these guys actually think they're going to attract, like, people to play in their games when, you know, you basically are like that. I mean, if anything, you should try to be as non-political as possible. I mean, even as a left-winger, right? I mean, there's just some general, like, I guess you could call left-wing, things that are prominent, like the X cards, or don't be a dick to people who are different than you, kind of like common knowledge shit, if you want to call that, like, left-wing, which these guys would. Okay, but that's it. Like, I don't need to, like, then tell you about how great communism is and all this. But it'd be nice if they also did that with their tables. But, there's no way I let this guy DM for me. There's no way. Like, I'm a person of color. Like, actually he did, he did the I have a black friend trope. So he talked about this black friend that was a nerd, and he didn't get along with any of his other, black, family members or friends. And supposedly, yeah, he's like, hey, man, we have a lot in common. And I guess he basically found a black Republican that also liked D&D. And I was just like, bro, like, that's not a good story. And that really tells us nothing other than maybe that this guy definitely believes in, like, the model minority, like the good one, if you will. Right? If you act white enough, or at least polite enough in white company to not question, white supremacy or whatever, then you can hang out with him, because it has these guys. Like, I also love these guys. This is another common trait, is that I'm kind of all over the place, but they love to talk about keep politics out of it. But of course they can't keep politics out of it. They have to insert it, right? If someone says, hey, or someone makes puts a taco in the, what is it, Heroes Feast spell, like, the artwork, this is the guy that's gonna lose his shit, there's really nothing more to say about Condor. He is a weird dude. All he does is, like, literally shit talk other people and then complain about people shit talking him. But he just argues with OSR nerds and OSE nerds or whatever. So it's like, okay. But I just found him annoying. There's way bigger fish than this guy. He sucks. Just like all these grognards, they're just, what it is, I'll tell you this. I think this is a perfect summary of, like, these guys and my problems with Condor, is that these guys are like, the old school DMs that would like, to run their parties into every trap they could so they can get a giggle out of it. It's that kind of adversarial DMing. They like to be in control of everything. They like to, make all the rulings, right? And whereas 5e, players can learn the system, and then basically, if you're at a good table, right, and which is most tables I've sat at, the players and the DM are going back and forth on the rules. Like, the DM, they know, like, 95%, but, like, sometimes there's a feature that comes up, right? And then they'll put the feature up so everybody can read, and we can read it, and it's part of the official classes. We always stick with official classes. And it's all very intuitive, right? If you get a table where the players and the DM know what's going on, I know how far I can jump, how far I can jump up. I know exactly, how good I am at stealthing. I know exactly, as long as I'm given the conditions. I know there's a lot of more predictable, like, mechanics involved. Whereas these guys, and I've actually played a few tables that are kind of reminiscent of this, but they're 5e, is this very loose ruling. Just like things kind of just arbitrarily are there, and like if you try to interact with them in a rules way, they don't want you to do that. They want you to do it their way. You know, I played, what was that, the Grinch Stole Christmas. It was like a little one shot, right, where you're like level 20, and it's kind of ridiculous, but it's fun. And I love the DM in that. She was cool, but there was a little bit of like hand wavy, like, you know, I'm looking at the tower, I do an Arcana check, okay, to see what's up, because like it wouldn't let us in the front door. And she said something that I think she said was like a private sanctity spell or sanctuary spell, right? And I was like, okay, I will cast Dispel Magic on it on a 4th level. And she was like, she gave me this like partial success stuff, and I'm like, okay, there's no partial success on this. This is either it's dispelled or it's not dispelled. Now, I didn't say that in game because obviously it's a one-shot. I'm not going to sit there and be like rules lawyery. But if I was playing a campaign where I'm going to be long-term, yeah, I'm not putting up with rulings like that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I want the game to make sense. I want the world to make sense. And that's what a lot of... I'm not saying, like, people can't find OSR. Obviously, OSR can be fun, and DMs can actually be very consistent in their rulings, and you can find some predictability. But I'm saying that put in the hands of a bad DM, which I guess any system, right? Any system like that, put in the hands of a bad DM, you're gonna get some wild rulings that are not consistent from one scene to the next. You know, like I said, this isn't a critique necessarily of OSR or OSE, but it is a critique of like these guys, these grognards, who they talk about 5e, but they actually don't know what the hell they're talking about. And I know they've played it, like they do know something about it, but the conclusions that they come away are just not what I see in all my games. And I play 4 tables a week and several one-shots and several side campaigns. So, I mean, I don't see the problems that they see. Like, it's not there. But anyway, Condor Sucks. If you want to debate, you know, and man up, then I'll debate you, dude. You name a time and place. And let's go over all this anti-woke crap that you... Because, I mean, you put out several videos and they're just completely freaking wrong. Like, on the facts wrong. You don't do your research, I can tell. And yet you're going to offer, you know, advice to you know, potentially new DMs that come into the D&D hobby. Yeah, that's pretty trashy, dude. So... if you want to debate that, I'll try to be civil and whatnot, obviously. But let's do it later.